Previously on
Fare thee well, bruh. Fare thee well. Thankfully, it's warming up and I think she'll wake up soon after I leave. Just in case, I take off my coat and wrap it around her to make sure she's warm enough. I glance at the sunrise out of the horizon. I can't bear to look at it too long. I turn back, gaze at her one last time. The girl in the green dress, sleeping on a park bench. If only things had been different. Then, I began to walk away. I stopped myself from looking back. Emmeline, I'm sorry. Goodbye. I walk away into wilderness as the sun rises over the trees. I vanished like a ghost from a dream, wiping tears from my eyes. Or I leave behind our footprints in the snow that are soon swept away by the winter wind.
What? June 13th, 1987, what? Wait, it's been 20 years! 20 years? Yeah, it started at 1967, right? Yo! What the fuck happened? 20 years? Oh my god, did you just water off for 20 years? Oh, what? Where the fuck am I? I mean, it's probably in summer, June 13th shit, but damn! Where the fuck am I? Am I still in America? What? Well, I guess I'm moving on, I guess. Am I hitchhiking or some shit, or am I, like, driving? What? Another day, another highway stretched out towards oblivion, USA as I stand beside it. Outstretched arm, erected thumb, baking in the heat of the mid-June sun like a scrambled egg served sunny side up over asphalt. Route 1 to be exact. Some meaningless measure of distance from Caribou. These old main roads are so familiar, painfully so, that I attempt to suspend my awareness of them as I walk from one town to the next. Too many memories spanning too many years. I'm growing tired. Mentally, physically, spiritually. Hell, everything which way a man can grow weary. But still, year after year I walk these same old roads. Maybe one day, I just stop dead cold in my tracks and the good Lord will allow me to finally rest on some dusty trail in the middle of nowhere. Perhaps they'll even name it after me. That wouldn't be so bad. Being memorialized for a future generation of ramblers like myself, I mean, yeah. But now I can't walk anymore. It's been hours since I left Caribou and I gotta piss like there's no fuck tomorrow, damn! I issue a prayer under my breath. Why, God, why? Shit, I don't know. As there's surely no one out here to hear it but myself. I hope that some friendly stranger with the penchant for helping other friendly strangers might notice my hiked thumb and offer me a lift to the next town. My prayer is soon answered in the form of an 18-wheeler Zimmerman Truck & Co. Company, yeah. If, I can correctly decipher the enroded letter emblazed on the side of the truck. Its driver leans over the passenger seat and struggles for several moments to get the window to roll down. Okay, but to little avail. This truck has clearly seen better days, yeah. One exasperated grunt later, he accepts that his passenger side window will no budge down further than a crack. Fortunately, this is just enough of an opening for him to be able to shout and be heard above the rumble sputter of his idling engine. Hey man, where you headed? Anywhere's fine, so long as, I can get the fuck out of this heat, yeah? A moment later, the truck's passenger side door swings open, and I gratefully climb up into the well-air-conditioned cab. Nice! The interior smells of cigarettes, whiskey, and grease, each scent hitting me in turn as I buckle myself in. It's nostalgic, though it really shouldn't be. The driver all slender and short and clean-shaven. The very opposite of the big buried type that you always imagine drive big rigs for a living. Thrust a hand in my direction, which I take and shake firmly. So, anywhere's fine, eh? He shortened O sound and use of A. Places his origin somewhere in the Midwest, probably Minnesota, but there's a foreign element to it. Almost a southern twang. Yes, sir, and I do thank you for the lift. A moment longer out there, I'll likely have succumbed to the heat stroke or fuck worse, you know? Worse? Melting it up, son. Yeah. Ha. Yeah, man, it sure is a scorcher, isn't it? Highest temperature on record for this region. Or so the weatherman said on the radio this morning. Global warming is what they're calling it. I don't know about all that, but I do know it sure ain't the right weather for hitchhiking. You can't say that again, bruh. Yeah. Anyways, this old rig's heading up to St. Leonard. But you just let me know if you wanna, be dropped off anywhere along the way. Not that there's much to speak of between here and there. Nah, Canada's fine, bruh. In fact, anywhere better than, pause to consider just where the hell I am. Yeah, where the fuck am I? Anyway, the ribbon of highway which leads north of the Caribou just meanders through unincorporated countryside, really, yeah. Grassy plains and clustered up trees everywhere you look. A short distance away, I spy a small farm that wasn't there a decade ago. An old man is listlessly riding a lawnmower over well-trimmed grass. What else can he do to kill us these, mid-afternoon hours, when everything is so fucking hot and dry and dead? Nowhere, I guess? The man laughs and shifts the truck into gear, and soon we're headed down Route 1 with only the radio to take my mind off of how full my bladder is. Bruh! Why don't you just take a piss on the grass? What? Dude! Whatever, yeah. It's tuned to some political program wherein two pundits are taking turns yelling lies at each other about Gorbachev and democracy. A more unprincipled man might have taken a leak somewhere off the side of the road, but I could never do a thing like that, okay? Why? This land, with its deserts and trees and beaches and skyscrapers and hippie communes, is my land. The highways that are etched into the face are collectively my temple, and I am its high priest. To wantonly piss on this holy ground would be no less than sacrilege. Okay, bruh, okay. Innermost conviction be damned, though. If we don't reach a truck stop or rest area soon, I would rather pee on the fucking bush than myself, dial. On the radio, there's a lull in the heated discourse as one of the hosts segues into some recent soundbite of the president speaking. Across Europe, this wall will fall, for it cannot withstand faith. It cannot withstand truth. The trucker's interest appears piqued as he turned up the volume and listened intently. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and East Europe, if you seek liberation or liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Old Gipper couldn't out-tack a chimp, but he can sure put an end to communists, yes sir. The driver soon loses interest as the program segued out of Reagan's spiel and back to the two goofball arguing about Gorbachev, and he begins to scan through whatever radio station can be caught this far into our country. Any preferences? I let him skip through various rock and roll oldie stations before giving him the nod to stop the dial on the Hank Williams Lovesick Blues. Yeah. I'm not the biggest country music fan, but listening to the hillbilly Shakespeare wax poetic about being nobody's sugar daddy anymore proves to be a pleasant enough distraction, at least until my trucking friend joins in with his own nasally intonations. Fortunately, Texaco soon appears nice, and I'm spared the displeasure of hearing him butcher the rest of the tune as he pull in near the closest pump and step outside to refuel. As for me, I hasten to avail myself of the gas station's public restroom, I purchased a cinnamon Danish and an 8-ounce cup of coffee on my way out, and then it's back on the road we go. The Danish is dry and crumbly, damn. Don't know what I expect for 50 cents, yeah, to tell the truth, but the coffee is good, yeah. And I nursed it as I began to ponder what I'll do when I reach St. Leonard. There's something about the flavor of cheap roadside coffee, that's intoxicating, to the tired mind. Pretty soon I can feel my spirits begin to lift as my imagination runs amok thinking up adventures that might await me in St. Leonard. This won't be my first time in Canada, far from it, of course, but for whatever reason, I've avoided seeing Quebec till now. Maybe it's because I don't speak a damn lick of French, but then again, language barriers never kept me from having a little fun in the French corridor either, yeah. A passing mile marker read 2,305. It won't be too long now until we reach the border and I can begin a new life in a new town with a new job. All for about 2 weeks before I have to move on and do the same old song and dance someplace else. I'm not complaining, because again, I've never been to French-speaking Canada. St. Leonard will do me good, or so I like to believe, yeah. But that honest part of me that I've become so adept at suppressing is nagging at my brain, reminding me in no subtle tone that there's more between here and there than just open road. An old, familiar ache suddenly reawakens as I gaze into the shadow pool of Java that sits at the bottom of my cup. In the swirling pool of orchid, I can see visions of a girl I once met. Hallucination of her chestnut hair wisping in the light winter breeze. What possessed me to walk this way? What else did I think would come to of going back to me? Not enough time has passed to dull my lingering sense of regret. Hell, 20 years is a long, long fuck time, bro, damn, but in my life? It's not long enough to exorcise the ghost of a single night, yeah! It was the sort of night that never leaves you, even as a memory. It visits you in the evening, when you're trying to be quiet, trying to rest. It plays tricks on your mind, summoning apparitions from out of nowhere. Even now, visions of that girl come to me when I least expect them. Just when I think I'm ready to cancel all debts to my past self and press onward for once and for good. That's when she comes to me. These visions conquer my mind. They keep me coming back to old roads and old towns in hopes of seeing her again. Even though I'm certain she wouldn't, remember me. The truck suddenly jerks to a halt, causing the pot of coffee I was just fixated on to splash in my face. Goddamn, putting a premature end to my sad, nostalgic spell. Jeez, man, I'm so sorry. Are you alright? It was a lukewarm anyway, so it's I'm cool, yeah. What happened? The man gestured beyond the windshield, and I see a long stretch of cars ahead, and beyond that, an accident of some sort. State trooper lights flash in the distance. Seems there's allowing only a few vehicles at a time to cautiously maneuver around the wreckage. And we're the new end of the line. Damn! 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes slowly drip by, and in that time we scarcely budget. Finally, the fellow seated beside me lets out an exasperated sigh and reaches over to my side of the cab in order to fish something from out of the glove compartment. I scoot my leg back to give him more room to sort through the stacks of loose tools and booklets. After replacing a manual and a set of grease-stained gloves in his bandaged hands, as last returned with the well-worn copy of the complete works of Allen Ginsberg, cat's got taste, I guess, yeah. As he slips on a pair of reading glasses and opens to some latter bookmark page, I decide to whittle away the time with a book of a different kind. My journal. Reaching into the front compartment of my backpack, I removed the latest draft of my voluminous travelogue. I like to think that one day this journal will be published to great acclaim, but as a work of fiction, Lord knows I've experienced too much crazy shit over the course of too many fucking decades for anyone to buy into the veracity of its contents. Then, some years afterwards, they'll be adapted to the silver screen as a musical buddy comedy starring Steve Martin and Dan Aykroyd. Kevin Bacon will cameo as their Julie. It'll be mad fun, and it will all happen long after I finally decide to give up on this running joke of a life. With a wistful sigh, I open the record book of my eternal life on the road. There has got to be something in here that will pull me out of this funk and resuscitate those optimistic feelings I had but 15 fucking minutes ago. I began flipping to random entries in search of whatever that might be. Let's see. There was a period of about 6 years that I spent at the performer in the Ringling Bros and Barnum and Bailey Traveling Circus. This was back during the Great Depression. Great Depression, damn! When I would have been lucky to find any work at all. I started out as an animal trainer assistant, basically the schmuck that had to feed the animals and clean the shit out of their cages. And from there, I moved on to a variety of jobs, from clown to juggler to tightrope walker, to trapeze artist, to sword swallowers, to, you name it. I fucking did it all. I mastered every skill set and performed every role that existed under the big top, until finally, one day, I was promoted to ringmaster by an old friend of mine, none other John Nicholas Ringling himself. Sadly, he died a year afterwards, and in my opinion, the old circus was never the same. Once his nephew assumed ownership of the business is when everything started going south for me. I didn't so much mind that ticket price went up or that we were asked to make everything bigger and more dangerous for less pay. But when our standard 2 weeks engagement became month-long, then 2 months-long engagements, I knew I had to leave. With a heavy heart, I bid a silent farewell to my old flames, Carla, the acrobat, Regina, the animal tamer, and Catherine, the knife thrower, along with all the hearts I'd broken along the old B&B circus. And I never looked back. Skipping ahead a few dozen pages. My affair was Lillian Hellman. Oh, affair! The playwright. Lily was accused of being a communist sympathizer during the Second Red Scar of the early 50s, damn! And was under constant surveillance by FBI and Department of State. In addition to being spied on, she was being harassed by anti-Soviet groups and had begun to fear for her safety. Though a series of odd jobs and acquaintances, I became her bodyguard in March of 1951, okay, when she went on a media tour on New York State to promote her newest play, The Autumn Garden. I would accompany her into every ritzy hotel room along the itinerary, where we'd often stay up till 2 a.m. or later, sipping cognac and discussing politics. Lady's political sympathies were very similar to mine, and I commiserated with her on her plight. It wasn't long before she counted me among her many lovers. Of course, the press tour eventually ended, and she returned to her home on Long Island. She invited me to come live with her. As always, the offer of having a place to call home and a friendly face to share with was tempting beyond words. I spent a few nights with her there, slept on the cot because, I didn't want to fall in too deep with her, Then made up some bullshit story about having to go break things off with a girl in Queens. Okay, I never went back to the island. Never even saw Lillian Hellman again. If someone were to ask me if she is writing plays or if she's even still alive, I would have to say, I really don't know. Yeah. As the traffic jam slowly diminishes, I read stories of peace and stories of protest, stories of love and stories of war, stories of freedom and stories of bondage. In all my life stories, there's a sick recurring theme, my own selfishness.
During high times and low times alike, I ingrained myself in the hearts of those around me, though fate dictated that I should always keep moving. I always stuck around long enough to leave a lasting impression on one person or another. In some ways, I can't help it. I'm not so much of an asshole that I would, go out of my way to make everyone dislike me. I can't simply, abort that everyday mental process which keeps me trying to please others. I want to please others, I figured out a long time ago that what I want more than anything is this world is to be loved by everyone I met. So, I keep traveling across this land, from one friend to another, from one lover to the next, like a merry-go-round. Round and round I go, in perpetual motion, leaving a blur of discarded relationship behind me as I spin. Though I've tried to slow things down since that fateful night, that holy night of repentance, when I finally decided that I wasn't going to hurt anyone loved or another loved one, that I was sick of vanishing from their lives with no explanation given. Christ, it's 1987, and I'm still fucking spinning, damn! This increasingly hellish ride I spent the past several decades on is never going to end. Never. Not until I finally work up the courage to fucking jump down. I feel fucking sick. Looking up, I see we're finally back on the route to St. Leonard. A feeling of relief should be washing over me, but the opposite is true. Instead, a sense of dread had befallen me. What? Why? Nothing good ever comes from reading my travel log. Someday, I hope everyone will find it and find inspiration and meaning in my collective experiences. For me, though, they only seem to bring pain. It is a book of painful truths. From cover to cover, I knew this yet decided to read it anyway. Hey man, you alright? You're looking kinda pale there. Yeah, I guess. I guess that date didn't agree with me. I've got to get my fucking mind on something else. Oh, yeah, those shitty little truck stop snacks will do that to you, for sure. I have to get it off of her. Luckily for both of us, our stop is coming soon. Stop, huh? Stop. Of course, this truck is going to stop in St. Leonard, where I will settle into a motel for the night. I will look for employment the next day and I will find it. I will stay in St. Leonard as long as I am able to. Then I will move on to the next town. I have all the Quebec to explore. It will be fun, and before I know it, these tormentous feelings will have passed. I reopened the book, this time not to a sad old story, but to my most recent unfinished entry. I recorded that my visit to Spanish Harlem was fruitless. That the old gypsy palm reader that been my friend for many decades had finally passed away. Now no one knows my secret. Oh! From Harlem, I hitched a ride that took me all the way to Bangor, where I began to walk. June 12, 13. After about a week of walking US 1, and sleeping under the stars, I stopped in Caribou, spent the night at the cheap motel, then went to barber for a shave and a haircut in the morning. Continued northward until I was picked up by a friendly truck driver, headed for a town near the Canadian border called Saint Emmeline. Am I losing my fucking mind? Was it madness to draw me to this specific part of Maine, or am I just a victim of fate? No, something tells me that it was more than just a simple fucking twist of fate that brought me here. My feet have a mind of their own and took me to this part of Maine of their own accord. They've tried to tell me for some time now that it's time to settle down one last time, but I haven't been listening. Am I really going to do this? Am I really going to go back there after all these years? What would even be the point? No one will remember me. She won't remember me. I shouldn't be tempting fate like this, but I can't help but think back to past times now. Always a strange, new feeling growing with each and every recalled memory. That fateful winter night, I had met a most wondrous woman. She plagued my dreams for decades at this point, and yet, I always told myself that I could never go back. My one fear, though, had been cleared to be true. I regret everything. I regret meeting her. I regret talking to her. I regret taking her out into the snow, like young children exploring their fleeting youth. I regret leaving her, despite the impossibility of it all. I still remember her face, her voice, every bit about her. Despite my old age, my mind is and always will be sharp as ever. She won't remember me. Well, I've been frittering away the past 2 decades. Time has marched on for the good folks in Cedar Maid. There's just no point in going back there. I'm not ready to settle down. I still have a place I need to see, things I've got to do. For all my talk of being wary of my life on the road, I'm not ready to grow old and lose it. Why can't anyone understand that? I have to keep going. I can't stop for anything or anyone. I can't. But should I?
Talk about your jerkwater town, man. Folks would forget that place existed if it weren't on the map.
I look up to see what he's referring to. And in the near distance, there's a sign rapidly approaching Cedar, 5 miles. I must be out of my mind.
No! Bruh! Go get her, damn!
You sure you don't want to continue on to Canada?
No, here's fine. I sort of, have some unfinished business in Cedar, so... The trucker laughs and says that, from the way I had been acting ever since we were caught in that traffic jam, he figured I had changed my mind about St. Leonard. Hey, I'm really grateful to, for you for bringing me this far. So what do I owe you for this ride, bruh? I reach into my back to remove my wallet, but the trucker's just shaking his head.
No, bruh. You're just a wayfaring stranger like me. If the only difference between us is that I've got a vehicle and you don't, guy, what kind of person would I have been to pass you up, huh? That's why I never pass up hitchhikers and will never change one for a ride.
Are you sure, dude? I mean, I really hate taking advantage of people's kindness. The trucker smiles and offers me one last hearty laugh.
Bruh, don't think twice. It's alright.
Bruh! I turned to face the sign I thought I'd never see again. It reads Cedar, Maine, population 251. Did it decrease? I think for a moment about what it might mean for me to venture beyond that side. About all the risks involved in trying to see her again. Now that I'm finally here, I want nothing more than to just turn around and run back to the highway, where I've always belonged. But I can't. It was the specter of her memory which drew me here, and it won't let me run away again. For better or worse, it's time to face Star. It's time to face Emmeline. Here goes nothing. With a deep breath and sigh, I walk towards the bar that I had come to love. Nature makes way to buildings, denser and closer, until I'm nearly in the heart of the small town. A familiar entrance in front of me.